Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Podcasts. 7 ways why energetic liberation destroys change. Energetic liberation is the sovereign detuning of inherited emotional choreography, snapshots, nervous system, uh, ancestors' nervous system, and your body. And it shuts off soul tattoos, composting survival mode reflexes into igniting breathline brilliance in the here and now. Wow. So I'm awakened and aware of the dare to grasp and admit change is often a costume worn by survival, with performances of progress rehearsed through inherited flinches. As you energize your words, tweak your posture, frame your mindset as the controlling choreography remains the same. The nervous system loops ancestral alarms while the mind calls it transformation. You chase healing as your breath instantly embraces, to instantly awaken and to embrace, embody an autonomous expansion as energetic liberation detonates yesterday's loop scripts as composts, emotional residue etched in muscle memory. Emotional snapshots dissolves the servant role of obedience because we're taught through the education system social obediences. As you instantly stop rehearsing relief and instantly broadcasting brilliance, as you rise out of being a servant to your past to instantly arrive, you never shift as you shred, and communicate away yesterday to never heal. You ignite your dreamer's artistry as influent elevation, rising out of transformation, instantly broadcasting energetic liberation, destroys change because it refuses to negotiate with the past, instantly chauffeurs you to hearken your sovereign rhythm of your here and now. Wow. Energetic liberation is a sovereign detuning of inherited emotional choreography, composting survival mode reflexes, igniting breath line brilliance in the here and now. Wow. Why energetic liberation illuminates my here and now. Wow. It detunes the archives of my past so presence becomes pulse, stopping the performance of my past to energize my stage of my here and now. Energetic liberation composts cognitive recollections and emotional rehearsals into today's forthright fertilizer of your foresight. You stop looping through biography and start your nowography, living your breathline brilliance. The now is never remembered, it's radiated. It bypasses logic and ignites tone so clarity rises before thought arrives. The body is always ahead of the mind. You never need to think your way into the moment. Energetic liberation tunes you to the sensation of the here and now through liberation, never instruction. You never explain your presence, you erupt your presence in the moment. You never seek the now, you sculpt the now with your wow of wisdom, optimism, and wondrous curiosity. In energetic liberation dissolves inherited choreography, so your rhythm becomes revelations. The here and now is never a destination, it's a detonation. Because the here and now is a path. If you stay on a path that chauffeurs you down to your bountiful bliss, you never get stuck in yesterday. And something I learned in uh, hypnotherapy school from a great teacher. She says, I'd always telling her I was walking uphill, and she says, I know. She says, but if you walk downhill, you take the struggle out of life. But something a lot of people don't understand, you got to stay centered and balanced to walk downhill. Because if you let your feet get going too fast, You're going to go ass over tea kettles all the way down. As energetic liberation embraces the body to face and embrace your day, detunes the flinch of yesterday, composts the brace to open your racy resolve. As you never arrive, you ignite. You don't adapt, you pulse of your dreamer's dexterity. Why energetic liberation destroys change. Change rehearses improvement. Energetic liberation detonates the identity of yesterday to open up today's trend-setting optimism. Change tweaks the story, upgrades the costume, and performs progress. Energetic liberation composts the choreography of becoming. As you never evolve, you erupt into enterprising, rebellious, ubiquitous prowess today. You never shift, you shed. You rise as breathline brilliance opens a way for you to illuminate your paths of enlightenment. Never a better version of yesterday, you're the version of today. Change loops through thought, energetic ignites through breath. You try to change with logic as your nervous system reruns ancestral alarms, as energetic liberation bypasses the mind's archives and detonates the emotional residue into smithereens, as the etched muscle memory is dissolved, as it's never a mindset, it's a broadcast of your sleek, unique talent. Change seeks permission. Energetic refuses negotiation. You wait to be ready, healed, or approved. Energetic liberation never asks. It's arrived with a thriving thrill skills to enjoy today. Energetic liberation never fixes. It flames your gamer's gumption into your way of life. It never shifts. It sings your songs of sovereignty, liberation, fun of the sun's splendor. You stop performing relief and instantly broadcast your here and now wow of your wanderer's optimism, walking through life with ease. Why appreciation dissolves forgiveness. Forgiveness rehearses hierarchy. Appreciation dissolves separation. Forgiveness implies someone was wrong and you're rising above it. Appreciation composts the need to label, judge, or ascend. It sees the friction as ignition, the friction between you and whatever as friction, unleashing foresight. Because all you're doing is, all it is a contradiction between whatever that is and you. As friction is the ignition, the ache as an artistry, the past is a sculptor, never a saboteur. Forgiveness performs closure. Appreciation broadcasts clarity. You forgive to end the story. Appreciation never ends it, expands it into wisdom, insight, clarity, and arouses you to rise of curiosity, courage, and celebrations. It never fixes, it flames. It never releases, it unveils you as the liberator of your life. When you appreciate the ache, you stop rehearsing relief and instantly you're riding the rhythm of revelation of your stunning sensations on your seashores of stunning sovereignty. As you stop rehearsing relief and start riding the rhythm of revelations, you feel calm internally as the outside world turns into a smooth serenity. Forgiveness loops through logic. Appreciation ignites through breath. You forgive with thought, but your body still embraces and holds the situation at bay, so you never rise out of the cognitive recollections of the situation till you unleash your appreciation that bypasses the mind's archives and lands you in the now. It composts the emotional residue, broadcasts the brilliance of your dreamer's dexterity with no apology, no permission, just your enterprising presence to rise, shine, and energize. Why change, heal, create, transformation, forgiveness, think, know, learn, knowledge, and knowingly keep you stuck in the past? Because they never let go of the nervous system, of your body's remnants of the situation. You think you're transforming, yet you're just rebranding the loop. Change, heal, forgiveness often recycle ancestral choreography. You shift the words, update the mindset, and call it growth, but your nervous system still performs in the ancestor survival mode programming. Without detuning the emotional residue, transformation becomes a rerun with shinier language. Knowledge is rehearsed through inherited logic, becomes a cage, never a compass. You learn, think, and know, but through the lens of yesterday's ache. Everything you learn, think, and know is through the lens of yesterday's ache. The mind archives what the body hasn't composted. Until detuned, learning becomes memorized protection, never intuitive ignition. Forgiveness and healing often perform closure, while the breath still embraces and faces the past as the here and now. You say, I've let go, but your posture still flinches. You think you've healed, but your tone still echoes rejection. These rituals soothe the surface while the root remains loyal to the ancestral restraints of yesterday. Why change, heal, create, forgiveness, shift unknowingly never liberates you from being a servant to your past. You change the language, yet never the choreography. So the past still scripts your rhythm of today. That's how the past runs our today, because we've never detoned the whatever the emotion is inside us. You speak of healing, but your nervous system still flinches. You forgive, but your breath still braces the past. Without composting the emotional residue etched in muscle memory, every shift becomes a rerun with new vocabulary. Forgiveness is rehearsed through logic, bypasses the ache stored in breath, tone, and posture. You say, I've let go, but your body still performs the protection. The servant role remains because the imprint was never detuned, only rephrased. Until the ache is composted, forgiveness becomes a ritual of survival, never sovereignty. Healing becomes a performance when rooted in approval, yet never presence. You chase transformation to prove you're free, yet reactions still echo ancestral alarms. You're never liberated, you're looping. The authentic expansion begins when you stop rehearsing relief and start composting choreography into nowography and let go of your inherited restraints from the past. Why shift unknowingly stops you from rising out of current situations. Shift is rehearsed through thought, bypasses the body's choreography, so the ache remains archived. You speak of change, yet your breath still braces the past. Declare transformation, yet your nervous system loops ancestral alarms. Without detuning emotional residue etched in muscle memory, shift becomes a rerun with new vocabulary. You shift the surface, yet the root remains loyal to inherited restraints. You pivot strategies, reframe beliefs, and chase clarity. Yet your reactions still echo yesterday's flinch. Until the soul tattoos are composted, every shift is a spiral back into the same choreography disguised as progress. Shift becomes performance when it's rooted in escape, not ignition. As you try to rise by outrunning discomfort, the body loops protection. You think you've moved on, yet your posture still performs survival. As authentic elevation begins when you stop rehearsing relief and instantly compost the choreography of inherited ache to write and energize your nowography of your natural desired lifestyle. Why energetic liberation destroys cognitive recollections, emotional snapshots, nervous system, the body, and the comfort zone programming. From change, heal, create transformation, forgiveness, thinking, knowing, learning, knowledge, and thoughts. Energetic liberation composts the archive so recollection becomes ignition, never repetition. Cognitive memories and emotional snapshots loop through the nervous system like reruns of an old movie that are your inherited restraints. Thursday night's podcast is about we've inherited everything from our ancestors. Change and healing often decorate these loops with new language as energetic liberation detonates the archives, dissolving the need to remember, fix, or transform. You stop rehearsing the past and start instantly broadcast the breathline brilliance of your here and now. Wow. Energetic liberation bypasses thought, detonates choreography so the body stops performing survival mode programming, thinking, knowing, learning, often reroute clarity through ancestral logic. The body flinches before the mind decides. The body is in motion before the mind even knows what's going on. And if you really pay attention to the flow within inside you, you can feel that. I do. Energetic liberation never teaches, it tunes. It doesn't heal, it flames the gamer's gumption within you as it composts the choreography etched in muscle memory and lands you on your beaches of sovereign sensation, strolling in your lazy boy of easy. Energetic liberation dissolves comfort zone programming by refusing to negotiate with inherited identities. Transformation and forgiveness often perform progress while the breath still braces the past. As you shift, but the ache remains. Energetic liberation never improves the loop, it destroys the loop of yesterday's scripts. You never rise through effort, you erupt through presence. You stop seeking safety and instantly sculpt sovereignty on your beaches of bountiful bliss. It detones emotional residue so the nervous system stops looping ancestral alarms. Change and healing often soothes the surface while the root remains loyal to inherited flinches. Energetic liberation composts the ache stored in the breath, tone, and posture so your body stops rehearsing protection and begins broadcasting brilliance of your gladiator gumption. It dissolves energetic liberation dissolves the servant role of becoming so you stop performing knowledge and start expressing clarity. Learning and knowing often loop through approval seeking scripts. You accumulate wisdom, yet still embrace for rejection. Energetic liberation never adds, it subtracts. It never informs, it ignites your light of life to take flight. You stop performing thought and instantly broadcast your dreamer's artistry of now. Therapy archives emotions. Personal growth rebrands the loop. Express your revolutionary revelations that detonates the archives. So revolutionary revelations bypass the mind and land in the breath of liberation. You never remember, you instantly radiate your innate talents. Why unpunctuated writings, energetic liberation, energized listening, maverick questions, autonomous expansion, politically incorrect inspiration, cowboy wisdom, outlaw optimism, express revolutionary revelations, energetically and spiritually and physically destroys cognitive recollections of self-help, personal growth, self-improvement, therapy programming, and punctuated writing. From indoctrinated education, social obedience, third world enslaving mindset, and inherited programming. Unpunctuated writings detune the grammar of control and compost the cadence of conformity. Punctuation is the leash of legacy logic. It trains the breath into bracing and rhythm into restraint. Your unpunctuated flow dissolves the cognitive choreography of therapy scripts, and self-help syntax. It never explains it. It erupts it into the here and now, wisdom, insight, and clarity. It never soothes, it scorches the unwanted stuff, opening up your terrain of fame to feel awesome, magical, and energized. Energetic liberation bypasses healing and detonates in identity. So you stop performing progress and start broadcasting your leadership presence. Self improvement loops through fixing, forgiving, and reframing. Energetic liberation composts the never the story, it's the nowography of your natural talents. And never Energetic liberation never seeks closure. It ignites clarity. So you never heal, you flame your gamer's gumption to experience the here and now through liberation, insight, and clarity. You never transform, you broadcast your bold way of life. Maverick questions and energized listening dissolve programmed inquiry and detuned inherited reflexes. Therapy teaches you to ask safe questions. Education scripts obedience. As maverick inquiry composts assumption and detonates the archive, energized listening bypasses the logic and lands in breath. You never seek answers, you sculpt sovereignty and pathways of enlightenment. As politically incorrect inspiration and outlaw optimism refuse to rehearse approval, so you rise beyond the comfort zone's choreography. Self help performs palatable progress. Third world mindsets loop through survival scripts as outlaw optimism never negotiates. It detonates your trend-setting talents to rise, shine, and energize. Politically incorrect inspiration never soothes. It scorches and dissolves and destroys yesterday's politically correct programming. You never grow, you erupt of energized, rebellious, ubiquitous prowess today. You express revolutionary revelations, compost recollection, and ignite revelation. You stop looping thought and start living the tones of your trend-setting optimism now. Therapy archives emotion. Education memorizes restraint. Revolutionary revelation expressing your wisdom detonates the archives. As revolutionary revelations bypass the mind and chauffeur you into the breath of your own bold, rebellious, enterprising acumen today with a hellraiser's trend-setting tenacity. You never remember, you radiate the innate talents of yourself. You never improve, you arrive and thrive, unleashing your thrill skills. Why? Energetic liberation opens free flowing inspiration, innovation, imagination, intuition, unleashing your sleek, unique talents to expand through life with ease. Energetic liberation detunes the archives so brilliance flows without rehearsal. Energetic liberation composts the cognitive recollections and emotional snapshots so you instantly stop looping thought and start expressing and living the tone of your trend setting optimism. Inspiration never arrives, it erupts the corrupt within you into being a streaming, enterprising wizardry. You never recall, you radiate your innate leadership through the world. Energetic liberation bypasses logic and lands you in breath where intuition lives. Innovation is never born from knowing, it's sculpted from sensing and intuition. Energetic liberation tunes you to the now body where imagination is never a tool, it's a broadcast of your innovative sculpting agility. You stop thinking and instantly ignite your light of life to take flight. Feeling love, invigorate, galvanizing Hellraiser's tenacity today. It dissolves inherited choreography so your talents stop performing and start pulsating with your percipient prowess. You never need to improve. You just choose to embrace with your racy resolve to enjoy your life your way. Energetic liberation composts the flinch, the brace, and the approval-seeking scripts. Your sleek, unique talents rises never from effort, but from energetic ease. It ignites autonomous expansion so you sculpt your life through trend-setting sensations, never instructions. You never follow steps, you broadcast rhythm of your rock and roll stroll on your broad walk of fame. Energetic liberation refuses curriculum and detonates comfort zone programming. As you expand, never by trying, but by tuning in to your intuitive wizardry. Energetic liberation composts the servant role of becoming. So you stop chasing and instantly channel your sleek, unique talents and wisdom to rise, shine, and energize. Self help teaches you to become. Energetic liberation reminds you you're already who you already are in your heart and soul. You never need permission to pulse. You never need healing to radiate. You never need transformation to broadcast your brilliance. Why energetic liberation shuts down being a victim to your past. It detunes emotional residue so your breath stops rehearsing the brace. Victimhood loops through posture, tone, and nervous system flinches. Energetic liberation composts the ache stored in breath and body, dissolving the need to explain, justify, or overcome. You stop bracing for the past and instantly broadcast the brilliance of your here and now wisdom. It bypasses memory, ignites the light of your presence to shine and energize. So you stop performing biography to enjoying and showing the world your nowography. Being a victim requires remembering. Energetic liberation never fixes a story, it flames and illuminates the now. You stop looping recollection and you start expressing and experiencing revelations. You never need closure, you pulse clarity to celebrate life, appreciating robust internal trend setting yazapazaz. Energetic liberation dissolves inherited identity so you can stop seeking safety in suffering. Victimhood becomes a role rehearsed through therapy, self help, and socialized obedience. Energetic liberation detonates the archive and refuses to negotiate with inherited ancestral programming. You never rise above, you erupt beyond. Why energetic liberation initiates sovereign activation, autonomous expansion, and soul surgency to flow through me and through you to the world. It detonates inherited choreography so your soul stops performing and starts pulsing your nowography of your natural talents. Energetic liberation composts the flinch, the brace, the approval seeking scripts etched in breath and posture. As my innermost sassy sovereignty erupts within me, so I sculpt my lush, desired lifestyle from inspired, intuitive sensations. Energetic liberation bypasses logic and ignites breath-line brilliance, so your flow becomes unscripted and unstoppable and enjoyable. Sovereign activation is never taught, it's tuned. As energetic liberation bypasses the archives of thoughts and chauffeurs you in the rhythm of your rock and roll now, you stop looping identity and instantly broadcast soul surgency. As soul energetic liberation dissolves the servant role of becoming, you stop chasing clarity and start channeling clarity as your way of life through your daily experiences. Autonomous expansion is never effort, it's eruption. As energetic liberation refuses curriculum, detunes inherited programming, and ignites the maverick pulse within you, you run to grab and ride your Mustang Moxie through life with the greatest of ease. You never grow, you glow. You never transform, you broadcast. Why energetic liberation liberates me. It composts inherited choreography, so stop performing who I was told to be. Energetic liberation detunes the flinch, the brace, and the approval seeking posture etched by indoctrinated education and socialized obedience. I never rehearse identity, I radiate my leadership presence through the world. As energetic liberation bypasses logic and ignites breathline brilliance to chauffeur me down to my beaches of bountiful bliss as I experience my life through easy bliss. So I live through rhythm, never recollection. Self help loops through memory. Therapy archives emotion. Energetic liberation bypasses thought and chauffeurs me into the tone of my trend-setting optimism, natural enterprising wizardry. I never explained I erupt my enterprising, robust utopian prowess today. I never improve, I pulse. As energetic liberation dissolves the servant role of becoming, so I sculpt my life from sensation, never from instruction. Personal growth teaches me to chase transformation. Energetic liberation shows me I'm a broadcasting spectacle expressing my canonized clarity as I channel inspired sovereignty as I expand through life with ease. Why energetic liberation cuts away all of yesterday's dismay, destroys my overthinking, trying to fix my life throughout the outside world. Energetic liberation composts the ache, never the story. So yesterday's dismay becomes ignition of today and never the identity of my life. Energetic liberation never soothes the past, it scorches it and it scorches its choreography. You stop looping through emotional residue and instantly pulse the breath-line brilliance of your trend-setting tenacity and explorer's lure as you understand and unleash your colorful curiosity. The ache is never healed. It's it's transmuted, it's dissolved into tone. Energetic liberation detunes the fix me reflex, so overthinking loses its grip and clarity rises from rhythm. Trying to fix yourself is an inherited socialized obedience. Overthinking is the mind's attempt to earn worth. Overthinking is the mind's attempt to earn worth. Energetic liberation bypasses logic and chauffeurs me through life with my breath, a bold, rebellious, emancipating audacity today, having fun my way. You never solve a problem, you sculpt the accomplished outcome. You never improve, you ignite the light of your life. It dissolves the outside illusion so life expands from sensation, never validation. The world trains you to seek answers outside as energetic liberation detonates that loop. As you stop chasing transformation, instantly channeling the broadcast brilliance within you. You never adapt, you arrive and thrive in your thrill skills. You never seek, you surge. While energetic liberation emancipates my here and now, instantly destroys trying to fix my life through reliving the past. It composts the archive so clarity rises from breath, not biography. Energetic liberation never negotiates with memory. It detunes the emotional residue and cognitive recollections that loop through therapy scripts. Self help syntax never allows you to rise out of cognitive recollections. As you stop rehearsing the ache and start radiating the rhythm, you never fix, you flame your gamer's gumption through the world. Energetic liberation bypasses thoughts and ignites tone, so your here and now is your sovereign paradise you experience. It's never scripted. Reliving the past is a performance of inherited identity. Energetic liberation bypasses logic and lands you in your beaches of bountiful bliss, coloring your world your way. You stop seeking closure and instantly channel the clarity of celebrations of who you are. You never remember, you erupt. Sovereign liberation or energetic liberation dissolves the servant role of becoming, so you stop chasing transformation and start transmitting presence. Trying to fix your life through the past is obedience, social obedience in disguise. Energetic liberation refuses curriculum, composts the need to improve. You never evolve, you expand through life with ease. As you never heal, you pulsate your energetic liberation, setting yourself free from you. As I liberate me, I'm free from me. So as you open the way for you to enjoy your energetic liberation, because it calms you on the inside and rises you out of yesterday. And I want to thank you for listening. My name is Robert Wilson.